All right. So, like, I guess we're just gonna look at the new cards. So we got Kane. This doesn't show his origin, but his origin is the Shadow Reaper, and basically that means you can play any cultist card. So like, see how these are all cultists, even though they're from different regions. You could play these. There's also like a cultist spell down here. It says cultist spell on it. You can play all the cultist stuff. I would assume the equipment is also cultist. Yeah, equipment's cultist. This spell is cultist. That equipment isn't. That equipment isn't. That equipment isn't. Okay, not all equipment. Gotcha. So only. Oh, here's a picture of the origin too. Thanks, Shoddy. 10 out of 10. So yeah, here's a picture of the origin. So you put any cultist cards in your deck with deck building, and then the kind of silly part here is once you've summoned 3 different cultist units, draw a Kayne. Now the way this is worded, I assume it's every 3 different cultist units you draw a Kayne. Maybe it's just like the first time you draw the Kayne. I don't know. I would hope it's only the first time. I would hope it's just once you've summoned 3 plus, draw a Kayne, and then that's it. And it doesn't do it like every 3. That's how it reads to me, and that's what makes the most sense to me. But I'm not 100% sure on that, and I can't really be 100% sure on that. Yeah, but yeah, I hope it's just the first 3. That's kind of silly. You kind of just get an auto tutor for your Kayne, so you like guaranteed have your champion on curve with like no penalty at all, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so that seems pretty good. And then with Kayne and the Darkin comes 2 things. One comes with the Darkin tag, so different Darkin units. I think right now it's just Kayne, but there will be more Darkin units. And then 2 is equipments. So how equipments work is, I had a nice little pull up here. So equipments kind of work like attached units. They give you the HP and the attack of the equipment, and then they also get like, keywords and stuff like that. They're played as the same speed as units, just like attached units, and they even pass priority, just like, attached units. The main difference is, that you can also only have 1 equipment onto your unit, just like attached units. You can't stack equipment and attached units. You can only have 1. So you can either have an attached unit or an attached equipment. You can't stack them. The biggest difference here between attach and equipment is you can use spell mana for the equipment. So you don't have to use 2 unit mana, so it doesn't fuck your curve. So you can pass on turn 2, play a unit turn 3, and an equipment on that unit immediately and start doing stuff, which is pretty sick. So that's easily the biggest thing. And then once the unit is removed from combat, the equipment kind of pops back to your hand. If that once that equipment is attached, you cannot attach it again. So you can't go infinite. No stupid infinite equipments or anything like that. So for instance, if you play like this corrupted scythe, or we'll use something like this. If you play draconic bands onto a unit, okay, and then you pop that off immediately with an attached unit, you can't play draconic bands again for the rest of the turn. You can't just replay this. I'm not exactly sure why. I'm sure I'll find out later on why that's a rule. Again, maybe there's something that discounts the cost of equipment. Maybe that's something in the future that they have coming, and they're just like proactively trying to avoid infinites because they don't want you to just sit there and get like, oh, my scythes cost like 0 now. Let me stack them. Oh, I guess you don't even need for the future. It's literally just like auction, right? You just go like auction. Make my spells cost 2 less this turn. Boom. Your what are these called? Your equipment's cost 0 now, and you just go infinite on like turn 5 as soon as you get an equipment, or really just like as soon as you level your auction, you can do that, which is pretty silly. So they're actively avoiding that, which is good. Let's see here. Yeah, and so now we just get into the units, get into Kayne. So Kayne, 5 mana, 2/5 challenger unit. When you kill an when you kill an enemy, heal me 2. Level up is when I've struck twice. You recall him, and then he levels up. And then so that, if you play League of Legends, you know that the biggest thing about Kayne is they move from, you can choose to either be a blue Kayne or a red Kayne. So once you level up the Kayne, he recalls to your hand. You can replay him as either the red version of Rast, or the blue version, which is Shadow Assassin, which is really, really cool. So that happens whenever you play him. So when you play Kayne, he, let's see here. You play your Kayne, you choose one of the two. Red Kayne, or Rast, is a 5-mana 3/6 with Overwhelm Challenger. So this one gains the Overwhelm keyword. And then you auto-equip the Corrupted Scythe, which says attack, grant Corrupted Scythe +1/+1. So you see it's a 0/0 equipment. But every time you attack, this equipment gets +1/+1 permanently, and the stacks carry out through different units. Same with Kayne, I forgot to mention. You automatically equip a Darkin Scythe, which Darkin Scythe you see down here. When you attack, it gives it +1/+0 permanently, and again, the stacks, stack on there permanently, and they carry out to the different units. Yeah, so this basically just turns into a 5-mana, once you attack once, 5-mana, 4/7 Overwhelm Challenger unit. Says when I kill an enemy, full heal me and then heal your Nexus 2. So it's kind of like a bruiser type, unit where you're trying to play combat, you're trying to do stuff like that. And then the other version, the blue version of Kayne, is elusive unit. Then it says when I'm summoned, or when you play him, auto-equip the Shadow Scythe. And you can't see it because my camera's covering it. Maybe I can drag it down over here. Boom. And Shadow Scythe, it says attack granted +2/+0. So basically, it just turns into a 5-mana 5/6 elusive challenger, which elusive challenger keyword pairing, not very good. We haven't seen it work out basically ever in LR's history, because they're, not, what's the word? The keywords like don't go together. They're like literally opposites. Like Kayne, elusive is wanting to avoid combat interaction altogether, and challenger is trying to really get into the middle of combat interaction and units hitting each other. So it's pretty funny. But yeah, basically this Kayne is going to be used to end games quickly. If you're like, oh, I'm against control, or I'm against a board deck that doesn't do anything with elusive units, I'm just going to hit you a bunch and try and end the game extremely quickly. And Rast is like, oh, okay, we're actually going to have to sit here and slog it out, and I'm going to heal, and I'm going to take control of the game. Okay, so after Kayne, we have Kayne Spell, which is you give Kayne quick attack this round, and he starts a free attack challenging an enemy. So basically, this is 4-mana Cataclysm, except it grants, it's 4-mana Cataclysm that can only be used on Kayne, but it gives him quick attack. So it's a really, really quick way to level up your Kayne, because you can just go like, play Kayne, attack or block, and then play this Kayne spell, and then your Kayne automatically levels up, which is pretty sick. You can level him up pretty quickly. Yeah, and giving him quick attack, quick attack challenger, really, really nuts. So quick attack challenger overwhelm on Rast is really, really, really good. Again, on the Shadow Assassin, doesn't really matter because you're not trying to really interact too much when you're elusive, but it'll be really good for base Kayne to level him up, and then it'll be really good for Rast to kind of take control of the board. Our other followers is Cultist, 1-mana Shurima follower. And so 1-mana 2/1, play Predict. If you pick a Darkin or an equipment, grant me +1/+1. So it has the potential to be a 1-mana 3/2 unit that also stacks your deck with a Darkin or an equipment on top of your deck. So that means you can either put a Kayne on top of your deck or an equipment on top of your deck. Boom, you have 1-mana 3/2 and a good card coming out. Also, the fact that it just says 1-mana 2/1 Predict, if you just take off the second half of that, like every other word after that, this is one of the best units in the game for 1-drops. Like, you literally just shove this unit in every single Shurima deck ever, and it's an instant 3-of. And so, yeah, I don't know why Shurima consistently keeps getting the best 1-drops in the game, but here they are. They get another one. And then the last cultist on this page is a 4-mana 4/4 Demacia cultist. It has tough. It says, once you've equipped an ally this game, grant me scout. So 4-mana 4/3 tough scout unit with condition. Pretty all right. Probably nothing too crazy. We'll see if there's any good Demacia equipments or what you would want to pair with Demacia. Maybe you put this in like scouts. There's a good like Bilgewater equipment or something. Who knows? So speaking of Bilgewater equipment, here you go. So the first equipment we're going to look at is a 3-mana 2/1. And then it says Plunder, it costs 2 less. So best case scenario, it's Plunder, 1-mana, grant an ally +2/+1. I think this card is very fine. I don't think this card's that broken. The biggest issue with this card is it kind of just gives raw stats, and LOR is in a game where raw stats are particularly too good. Usually you want to pair the raw stats with a keyword, whether that's elusive, scout, overwhelm, something like that, and it's really good. But just raw 2-1 in stats isn't too good. So this makes me think you probably want to play this in some sort of like Bilgewater elusive style deck, Bilgewater overwhelm style deck. If you get it in one of those two, this card is really strong. If you don't get it in one of those two, this card might not see too much play. The next one we're going to look at is 4 mana +3/+3 Draconic Bands. So it grants +3+, or not grant, but it gives +3/+3, and it Fury, and it says the bearer is a dragon, which is cool for things like Shyvana. It helps Shyvana level up. What is it? The Dragon's Clutch that says you can give your dragons +1/+1 in Overwhelm. Well, now whatever unit this is attached to is considered a dragon, so you can just permanently give that unit +1/+1 in Overwhelm, which is pretty cool. Outside of that, you could play this on Taric, and then I don't know if it counts for Taric. That would be very interesting to see. I know attached units don't count for Taric, so it'd be interesting to see if this also counts or doesn't count for Taric. Who knows? I would assume not, but if it did, that would also open up another avenue to play this card. Not too overwhelming right now. Seems to be best in like a Faded style archetype, but Faded isn't like super popular right now because they don't have a good way to grant Overwhelm. So we have this one, 3 mana Shurima +4/+4. This one you get out of a landmark, and we don't know how fast you get the landmark, how fast it pops, when you get the landmark. So all we know right now is 3 mana +4/+4. Could be really good. There's definitely a curve where you go like Renekton on 4, play this on Renekton, like all of a sudden you have a 8/8 Renekton for no reason. If a unit has if a unit has vulnerable and you get to challenge it with Renekton, then you automatically level up Renekton on turn 4. That's pretty sick if you can get this with the 3 spell mana on turn 4. But again, we don't know when you get this. We don't know what the condition is to get this. We just know it comes out of a landmark. Next one is Great Hammers, and this is, in my opinion, the best equipment we've seen so far. And it's very simple. 2 mana +2/+0. Give the unit Overwhelm. Giving Overwhelm is really, really, really good, especially when you're in Noxus. So you're already this like kind of aggressive deck, and you're already this like region with a bunch of Overwhelm. So now you get to just play any large unit in Noxus that has like large, but maybe like a shit keyword like Fearsome or something, and then play it at any other region to pair with it that doesn't have a good Overwhelm unit that you want to pair. So like Freljord, like Noxus Freljord Overwhelm is like an OG pairing. And maybe, I don't know off the top of my head, but maybe there's some like really big or overly statted Freljord unit that you could put this on, and then now your overly statted Freljord unit has Overwhelm. Or you could put this on something like Crocodile, so you go like play Noxus Shadow Isles Overwhelm, and you're just like, okay, play Croc, play Great Hammers, I have a 7/7 Overwhelm unit on turn 4, right? Or actually it's a 9/7, so it's like turn 4 9/7 Overwhelm unit, which is pretty fucking insane. So this by far is my favorite, probably the best. What is it called? Oh, you said it was leaked 1 mana countdown 2. So apparently this was leaked as a 1 mana countdown 2. That seems pretty good. So you get to like play it on turn 1, get this on turn 3, bank that 3 mana, play it on Renekton. Yeah, that'd be really good. All right, and a couple of cards left here. We have the Darkin Ballista 1 mana 2/1 equipment. When I'm equipped, deal 1 damage to your Nexus. So it's kind of like a downside because it's so cheap and so good. But the cool thing about this equipment is you can spend 8 mana to play it as a unit. So early game and early on, you can play this as a 1 mana 2/0 equipment, which is pretty good. It's just 1 mana, give a unit stats consistently. And then in the late game, you can turn it into this big ass unit. It's an 8 mana 5/13 Overwhelm. End round, the strongest enemy and I strike each other. Is this the best 8-drop in the world? No. But the big thing is that it's very flexible. So you can either play it as this, equipment, which is really good. This is a really good equipment, almost as good as the Great Hammers. Easily the second best equipment in my opinion. Obviously not counting the Kayne equipments. The Kayne equipments are really, really good. But not accounting the Kayne equipments, this is like the second best equipment today. And then late game, if you need it and you're out of units running out of steam, you're just like, oops, JK, big 8-drop. Slam them down. And then we're going to look at a spell here. Cultist spell, so you can play this in the Kayne decks. So it's 5 mana slow speed Shurima. But once you've equipped an ally in this game, it costs 2 less. So 99.99, 100% of the time, this is just going to be 3 mana slow speed Revive the strongest dead allied champion. I wish they would stop giving Shurima these overloaded ass cards. Like, what is this, man? You get to bring back your Viego, you get to bring back your Nasus, you get to bring back like any like Sivir. You get to bring back like God forbid Kai'Sa's still playable. You bring back Kai'Sa for 3 mana. Like, stop. Just get some help to get this card out of my game. And the last card we're going to look at is 1 mana burst speed Demacia spell, cultist. So again, you can play this with Kayne. Pick a follower or equipment from the top 4 cards of your deck, draw it, place the rest into your deck. So you essentially says like shuffle your deck. I think this card is really good. I think this card is essentially just 1 mana draw 1, but you get to pick what you get, and then it shuffles away your deck, which is, you know, pretty good. If this card said pick a unit or equipment, this card would be an instant like 2 of in every single Demacia deck. But because it has follower, it's still really good, and it's probably just going to go in more specific decks. But yeah, it looks really solid. I mean, it's just like a 1 mana draw card, So it helps thin your deck out, helps you kind of, you know, get exactly what you need in a situation. Like maybe you need a challenger unit, maybe you just need a small cheap blocker, maybe you need a really big unit like Bannerman or something, you know. Depends on where you're at in your stage of the game, depends on what you're looking for, depends on what you need, and this can kind of help you get there. But yeah, so those are all the cards leaked and released today. I guess they're not leaked, they were just like released today from Riot Games. So super exciting. Kayne looks really silly, Kayne looks cool, equipment look really fucking cool. And I'm super excited to see what other equipments we get, what other cultists we get for Kayne, and what other Darkins we get for the like Forsaken Bakai and stuff. Makes me think we're gonna get a lot of Darkins. So I'm really excited to see what they do with this equipment archetype. It seems really cool, really unique to me, and very interesting. So I'm really excited about it. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the new cards, I guess. So yeah, if you guys enjoy me going over these new cards, let me know down in the comments below. And yeah, they're pretty sick. If you guys enjoy this, I'll go over new cards more and more whenever they come out every day. Yeah, so that's it.